March is a pretty interesting month. It's Women's Month, and in certain parts of the world, Mother's Day is in March as well. So I figured I'd talk about something that affects women all over the world, that affects mothers all over the world, that is important for their well-being, and that is postpartum mental health screening. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about why it's important, signs that you might need it ASAP, consequences of not getting it, and I'm going to be talking about some of the myths surrounding postpartum depression. So yeah, stick with me. Pregnancy is something, but the postpartum period is another completely different kettle of fish. It's wild on its own. I feel like for a lot of moms, for a lot of new moms, it's like what I ordered versus what I got. It's like, oh, so I go through this 9 months and it's, I experience all these things. And then I finally gave birth and it's like, phew, I'm glad that's over. And then you start postpartum and like, what the heck is going on? And part of the reasons why the postpartum period is this intense or can be, because it's not everybody's experience, but part of the reason why it can be that intense is because of the mental health challenges that a lot of people experience that they didn't see coming. So today I'm just going to highlight what I believe to be extremely important. Extremely important. So yeah, so what's postpartum mental health screening? Is basically, for clarity's sake and the most basic term, is assessment for the well-being of assessment of the well-being of a new mom, right? So it's basically just checks to make sure that she's fine, to see how she's doing mentally, to check out what she's experiencing mentally. So it typically involves stuff like checking out for anxiety levels, sleep patterns, mood, stuff like that, right? And even though it can be very hard for a new mom to decipher or discern whether or not she's dealing with what she's dealing with is postpartum depression, or she's just going through the normal first time mom or new mom experience, there are some distinguishing signs or symptoms that a person experiences when it is stuff like postpartum depression, right? And so stuff like poor sleep, fatigue, low libido might be relatively common, right? For every new mom, whether or not they have a mental health challenge. But with postpartum depression or with postpartum mental health challenges generally, there are some more intense or more alarming, right, symptoms that are not typical with childbirth. And one of it is the lack of interest in being with your child, in spending time with your child, in the baby in general. Another symptom is feeling suicidal, feeling hopeless, total lack of total loss of pleasure, losing the ability to concentrate, constantly crying for unexplainable reasons. Those are some of the symptoms that might be pointed to the fact that there's something much deeper going on here, and this is not just, oh yeah, first time mom. This is a sign that I think you need to get checked, right? And so those are some of the symptoms that if you are currently experiencing, you should be raising your eyebrows at. You should not be comfortable and just thinking it will pass. But I'll get to some of the myths, right? And if you're also noticing that these symptoms that you're experiencing, if they are lasting for weeks, right? Weeks are going by and still feeling the same way, that's another sign that, yeah, you need to get checked ASAP. And I know that it sounds like, oh, it's not that deep. Our mothers or our grandmothers or our great-grandmothers went through this thing and they didn't know about mental health screening, postpartum mental health screening. We turned out okay. I see stuff like that. Did we? Did we really? And you don't want to, if you know better, do better, right? There are so many, mental health challenges are not the popular saying that what you don't know won't hurt you does not apply when it comes to mental health challenges. It does not apply, because what you don't know will definitely hurt you. It will show up in the way you raise your children. It will show up in the way you show up in the world. That's tautology, but yeah, it will show up in your life in many ways, in your relationships, in the way you think, in the way you process things. You just may not know that it's because of unresolved issues or things that you've not processed, things that have not been cured or that have not been treated, right? It's just that you won't know, but it is definitely hurting. So mental health issues don't align with the popular saying that what you don't know will hurt you. So there are consequences, that's what I'm trying to say, for not getting screened if you have some of these symptoms. And some of the consequences are that the symptoms might actually go on to last for months and years even, and they might snowball into chronic depressive disorder, where that one now comes with his own problems, right? And everything that is associated with it. It can also affect your relationship with your spouse, your husband, your baby's child, your baby's father. It can also affect him because even though it's not talked about as much, men actually go through postpartum depression as well. I've forgotten the percentage, but there's a percentage, I think it's 25% of men that new fathers that actually deal with postpartum depression as well. They just talk about it a lot less, or it is less mainstream, but it is a thing as well. So if a woman is going through postpartum depression, there's a very high chance that her husband or her spouse is going to deal with it as well. It just may not talk about it. And then there's the obvious fact that if you don't deal or you don't get checked and treated for the symptoms or for what you are dealing with mentally, you are going to by extension be harming your child, because you might end up neglecting the child. It might not even be because you are a wicked person or anything like that, no, but because of how you're feeling, because of what is going on with you, you might end up neglecting your child. And everybody knows, well, if you don't, I'm telling you that neglecting childhood has a way of snowballing and affecting adults, children when they become adults. It has a lot of effect on the development of children, mentally, emotionally. See, that's another video or another topic for another day. It also affects bonding. So if you, like I said, one of the symptoms is that you lose interest in the child. So if you don't if you don't have interest in spending time with your child, in the child in general, chances are they are not going to be bonding, right? Does that make sense? That makes sense, right? You're not going to be bonding with child, so it's going to affect the bonding. And there are so many other reasons. There's also a lot of scientific research that says that the children are likely to have the developmental issues, learning difficulties, and for obvious reasons they might also struggle with sleep and eat, and it's just a whole thing, right? So for the sake of yourself, for the sake of your husband, for the sake of your children or your child, for the sake of everybody that cares about you, for your own sake, get screened the moment you sense that there's something going on, and you feel like, okay, so maybe this isn't just normal baby blues. Maybe there's something going on here, right? And I know that it's when people say, oh, get help, it sounds very ambiguous. It sounds like, where are we even going to get this help? But the simplest way is with your primary healthcare provider or anybody, your family doctor, anybody that is within reach. Chances are that they will be able to refer you, especially if it's in a good system or in a good facility. They are going to refer you to a therapist or a psychiatrist that will then be able to screen you and treat you, whether with talk therapy or with medication, whatever they believe is best. So now let's talk about some of the myths, some of the misconceptions surrounding postpartum mental health issues, because some of these myths are the reason why many new moms struggle to seek help in the first place. So yeah, let's bust those myths. So the first one is that postpartum depression is real, and that's a lie. A lie from the father of all lies, from the devil, because every lie has to come from him. It's a lie because APA says that if you meet 7 women that just gave birth, at least one of them is struggling with their mental health, right? So that means that you, as you are, because you likely know a couple of women that just gave birth, you know at least one person that is struggling with their mental health after giving birth. So it's not rare. That's 1 in 7 that's a lot. It's not rare at all. It's actually pretty common. The second is that postpartum depression only affects women that have a history of depression, or women that, were have a family history of it, or have had it before. Or, yeah, that's also not true. Even though there's a higher chance for somebody that has had depression before giving birth to have postpartum depression, even though there's a higher chance that that's going to happen, it is not in only such cases that a woman has postpartum depression. There are many reasons, many factors that can contribute to a woman dealing with mental health issues in their postpartum period, and that can be as a result of hormonal changes, to sleep deprivation, to just the general stress of it all. So yeah, it's not only people that have had depression that before childbirth that now have it, and that doesn't mean that if you're currently dealing with depression, or if you've dealt with it before, you start freaking out that, oh, that means you are condemned to having postpartum depression. No, so it also doesn't work like that, right? So yeah, that's the second myth I wanted to bust. The third is that postpartum mental health issues only happen in the first few weeks after giving birth, and that's also not true. Even though it's very common, right, for people to expect, the 6 weeks after giving birth to be pretty intense, I feel like at least everybody to a certain degree doesn't expect it to be, a walk in the park. Right, so a lot of people expect that is in that period that you should only experience. If you're going to have depression, let it be in that period. But that's not always the case. There are many cases where a person experiences postpartum depression, postpartum mental health issues even months after they've given birth. Right, so it can happen anytime during the new mom season, during the first year after giving birth. So it's not only in the first 6 weeks of the postpartum period. It's not only the first 6 weeks after childbirth that a person can experience postpartum depression. Then the fourth one is that it only affects mothers. I already mentioned this earlier. It doesn't. It is not talked about as much for the fathers, but it affects them as well. It doesn't only affect mothers. It affects fathers as well. I wanted to say 10, no, fifth. The fifth myth is that it will go away until mental health, postpartum mental health issues will just poof and you wake up and they're not there again. That's not very likely. God can do anything. He can cure anything, anywhere, anyhow, any way he likes. But in many cases, people actually need to get treated. Right, people actually need to get treated. They need to be on medication. They need to be seeing their therapist before it, compounds into something more dangerous, or it begins to affect every other area of their life. So, in many cases, let me not say all because I'm not good. In many cases, people actually need to get treated to be able to live the kind of lives they want, or to be able to experience motherhood in the way that they truly desire. And it is 100% possible, right, for a person to get treated and to start enjoying motherhood, enjoying the season of life that they are in. So the last myth I want to talk about is that seeking help is a sign of weakness. You already know, but I'm going to emphasize it to you. That seeking help is actually a sign of strength, right? Especially in a season where you've been waiting for this period possibly all your life, and it's here now, and you finally find out that it's not everything you had hoped. To be able to admit that things are not really going great and then ask for help is actually a sign of great strength. So yeah, I'm going to wrap up this video by saying that taking care of yourself, of your mental health, is just as important as taking care of your baby, right? So please don't hesitate to reach out for help if you are struggling. Like I've mentioned, you are not alone. There are more people than you can imagine, more people around you that are struggling with the same things that you are struggling with. So please don't get buried in all that is going on, all that you're thinking, all that is happening with you, and please ask for help. Thank you for watching my video to this point. I hope it has helped you in some way. Please share it with any new mom, anybody that you know will benefit from this, and drop a comment, give the video a thumbs up. It helps more people to see the video, and I'll see you in my next video. Oh, and yeah, I keep forgetting, please subscribe if you haven't, and hit the notification bell so you can get notified when I drop a new video. And I'll see you in my next video.